أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَالضُّحَى, by the morning brightness, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, and by the night when it grows still. Why these two things? Because these are two of the greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He would come and see in front of Him in this mountain. He would see the morning brightness and the separation between it and the night. And He would remember and reflect in the stillness of the night. These are the signs that the Prophet ﷺ would reflect on. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has never forsaken you, nor has He ever detested you, O Muhammad ﷺ. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And the hereafter is better for you than this life. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And your Lord is going to give you and give you and give you until you are satisfied and pleased. أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا فَآوَى. Were you not an orphan and we gave you refuge? وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. And did He not find you lost and He guided you? وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. And did He not find you poor and He made you self-sufficient? فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. So as for the orphan, don't oppress him. وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. And as for the one who asks, don't ever turn him away. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And as for your favor of your Lord, always speak about it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has not forsaken you, neither will He be angry with you. This chapter is what made the Prophet ﷺ always go on. No matter what would happen in his life, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has never forsaken you or is angry with you, O Muhammad ﷺ. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And your future will always be better than what you go through. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And your Lord will keep giving you and giving you and giving you until you're satisfied. Don't worry. I want us to reflect as if those verses are directed to us. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always will give us better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always be with us and never forsake us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always keep giving us and giving us until we're satisfied. This is why the Prophet ﷺ received the Quran. And this is why we struggle to understand how much we lack yearning as much as the Prophet ﷺ. Yearning for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yearning for the divine. And this is something that when you build, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will never forsake you in any part of your life. The Prophet ﷺ, interestingly enough, never came back here. He never came back to the mountain of Hira. As if saying that now is the time to work. Now is the time to carry on this legacy. Now is the time to save humanity. It's not just for you. This is for all people, all of humanity. And this is what, when you come here, your Islam becomes more and more real. Because this isn't something we read anymore. Iqra was revealed on this mountain. The angel Jibreel came here. The Prophet ﷺ ran by you where you're sitting. And this is why Islam is something we can never take for granted in that blessing.
Inshallah, before we wrap up, one of the things that I was able to benefit from very early on were coming across teachers who had dedicated their lives to the study of the Quran. And that's why Quranic studies, tafsir, whatever you call it, the study of the Quran became such a huge part of my own kind of formative phase in terms of study. And it also became like an area of focus and something I've always been very passionate about. And even now, that's why in the community as well, in the work that we do, that's something that I make sure that I'm always able to dedicate time for. Whether it be things like Quran Intensive or the Tafsir podcast and things like that. Really want to further, I think it's really, really important for our community to further discussion, understanding, contemplation, reflection of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the Quran. Part of the reason why I felt like coming up here to the mountain, coming to the cave of Hira, climbing up this mountain was such an integral part of this trip when we had first kind of designed the trip and the curriculum 3 years ago. The reason why this was so important, even though obviously just talking to people and talking to, the travel agents and things like that, there were a lot of people who kind of said, it's a big hike, it takes a lot of time, people get tired, it's not easy, etc., etc. But I felt it was absolutely necessary. And part of the reason for that was to build that relation, because what I was saying was, it's like that moment all over again. The world is struggling. The world is in disarray. The pain and the suffering is just beyond being able to be tolerated. The pain and the suffering is just, you can hear it, you can see it, you can feel it. But there is one difference. We have the solution already. See, the Prophet ﷺ, that pain and that suffering drove him up here because he was looking for something. We already have it. And the solution for the world's problems lies in two things. The Quran, we have to get back to the reading, the study, the reflecting, the living of the book of Allah, the Quran, and reflecting upon and internalizing the life of the Prophet ﷺ. That's absolutely necessary. And so by coming up here, I felt that it was a very powerful way for us to connect to both elements of that. And so as we heard the Quran and we learned about, just the condition of the Prophet ﷺ and what he went through, I wanted us to really, really understand what the 5 verses that started everything, that changed the world, that is the greatest moment in human history. When those 5 verses came down on this mountain, I want everyone to really understand those 5 verses. Iqra means read. Not just recite, but read, which requires comprehension. Don't just recite, but read, understand. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord, your Master, the one who created you. Bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, the one who created. In Arabic, when you say khalaq, created, it has to have an object. Created what? It doesn't mention the object because he created everything. He created the things we know and the things we don't even know. The things we see, the things we don't see. The things we realize, the things that we'll never realize. He created all of it. But then Allah specifically highlights the human being. خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ. He highlights the human being. ذِكْرُ الْخَاص بَعْدَ الْعَامِ. Why? Because God is saying that the centerpiece of all of this creation is this human being. Is this human being. And then what does Allah say about the human being though? While the human being is the center of all of God's creation, min alaqin, the human being came from a clot of blood. And in other places in the Quran, Allah even goes as far as saying the human being came from a dirty drop of fluid. Because when this human being grows into the form that we are in now, he or she stands tall and proud. They become arrogant. But think about your beginnings, your humble beginnings. What were you? You were filth. You were something that if it got on your clothes, you'd wash them. Those are your beginnings. So why don't you sit down and think for a moment? What makes you so arrogant? That you can't put your head on the ground in front of Allah. That you ask why I got to do this and why I got to do that. Why? Why do we have to do tawaf? Why do I have to pray 5 times a day? Why is this like this? Why isn't it like, really? What were you? خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ. اقرأ. Interesting. اقرأ. Is the same word repeating itself, everyone? Say yes. Yes. اقرأ. Read. Why is Allah repeating himself? God forbid. وَالْعَيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Is Allah redundant? Is the Quran redundant? No. It's a separate read. And the scholars say the first time it's saying read for yourself. Understand it, internalize. And second time, now go read it for the people. You can't teach if you haven't learned. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it. We quote this a lot to talk about teaching, but first it says learn, then it says teach. What do I mean by that? It doesn't mean that we have to become scholars before we can share something with anyone, before we can do some good. But it does mean that while we're doing some good, you got to keep on learning. The zeal, the energy that people have to do good in the world is very admirable. It's beautiful. But the complete, absolute lack of any time and focus and attention on developing yourself, learning yourself, is very tragic and sad. Right? Somebody who doesn't know the way can't guide other people who are lost. I can't give people directions out here. I don't know myself anything out here. We got to know the way at least. We at least got to get the map and learn how to read the map. Okay, fine, you might not memorize all the directions, but learn how to read the map. How much time do we spend reading the Quran, reading some Sirah, learning some Arabic, learning something about our religion? How much time? 10 minutes a day, is that a lot? Too much to ask? How much of my time is spent on YouTube or Netflix or Snapchat every single day? I can't take out 10 minutes to read a page? Read a little translation? Read a page of Sirah? Do a quick little Arabic lesson? I can't. I can't attend a halaqah once a week? I can't. I can wait for an hour for a table at my favorite restaurant once a week. But I can't attend a 30-minute class once a week? I can't. Iqra. Read so you can teach. وَرَبُّكَ الْأَكْرَمُ. And when you go teach, this is important, it says, remember that your Lord is the most kind, the most generous. Why? The most kind, the most generous? Think about how ignorant, how stubborn, how difficult I am. I should think about how difficult, how stubborn, how dull, and just combative and argumentative I am. But did Allah ever tell me, get out? You can't get it. You can't learn it. You don't have it. Go, get out. Did Allah ever tell me? Did Allah ever just dismiss me? You still do this? You still haven't learned what you should and should not do? Go, get out. That's it. You're expelled from Islam. Did Allah do that to me? When you teach people, people will be difficult. People will be stubborn. People will be very challenging. But be kind. Be kind to the people. Be generous with the people. Don't brush them off. Don't push them away. Look at how kind Allah's been to you. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم. He taught by means of the pen. What does that mean? If Allah wanted to, you would just make a dua at night, you go to sleep, and you wake up in the morning and go, I know Quran. That's it. Could Allah not teach us that way? Yes, say yes, everybody. Yes, yes, of course He could. But Allah taught by way of the pen, which means work. Learning is work. Learning is work. You want to learn how to do anything, you got to sign up, you got to go to class, you got to buy books, you got to buy supplies, you got to spend hours, you got to do all of that. We think we're just going to learn our religion just by osmosis? I'm just going to go hang out with somebody who knows what they're talking about and I know hadith. Right? It's just, no, it's work. Get a book. Get a notebook. It's a tragedy. We go to a halaqah and we lay down like this at a halaqah with our phone, Snapchat, just so everybody knows I was there. And then come back and be like, halaqahs, I didn't learn too much. Of course you didn't learn anything. Right? But if I go to the halaqah and I have a notebook and a pen, learn. قَيِّدُ الْعِلْمَ بِالْكِتَابَةِ. Trap knowledge by writing it down. Learn. Be a student. الَّذِي عَلَّمَ بِالْقَلَمِ عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ. He taught us what we did not know. Meaning what? If you put in some work, if you're sincere, you do it for the right reasons, and you put in a little bit of work, you'll be amazed by what Allah gives you. Allah will bless you. I don't like talking about myself, but I'm just going to keep it very, very honest and real with y'all. The point of these trips is we get to know each other. An American-born son of Pakistani immigrants teaches Arabic to Arabs. That makes no logical sense. You follow? Yeah. The American son of Afghani immigrants teaches Saudis about the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Preposterous. You just listen to an American-born son of Indian immigrants recite the Quran كأنما ينزل, as if it's being revealed right now. It makes no sense. I mean, so many examples like that, all in this group. And everywhere you go. And all over this world. One of our instructors who couldn't be here, he's always in our du'as, Mufti Kamani, is the son of a convert, a woman who was a Hindu. The son of a woman who was a Hindu teaches people the religion of Islam. May Allah SWT have mercy upon her. She passed away last year. My own sheikh, my own teacher, his father, who I benefited from, I learned Quran from, converted to Islam, wasn't born Muslim, was born as a Majusi, Zoroastrian, fire worshipper. Grew up worshipping a fire, and one day taught Quran, and his students are all spread out across the world teaching people Quran. And this man grew up worshipping a fire. You'll be amazed at what Allah will give you. You just gotta want it, like Shaykh said. You gotta want it, yearn for it. That's why we came up here, to want it, to get it. So I'm gonna wrap up. We could probably be here all night just talking. I'm gonna wrap up because I want everyone to get the chance to get down there, see the cave. I will say just a little reminder. It's somewhat, I don't want to make an excuse for ourselves. Bad adab is bad adab, no excuses made. But sometimes as Americans, we're a little rowdy. Especially as a Texan, I'm very rowdy. I'm very aware of it. But this is a very sacred place. I kind of talk about it. Our religion doesn't mean we have to be like at a funeral all the time, but this is a very sacred place, especially when you get down in that cave. Try to remain really quiet and calm and respectful. You know, and that's why we don't like doing the lecture down there. God spoke there. None of us should talk there. So just be quiet, be calm, be serene. I understand you might want to take a picture or two to show your family, to show your parents, to show your loved ones, your friends, you know, to teach them about what you learned here. So that's fine, but try to keep it to a minimum, inshallah. And so let's hurry up and do that. And then we need to get back up here, and we need to get back down as well, so that our bus drivers don't decide to leave us here, inshallah. Go ahead.
Only those who have not already been down there.
Talk loud.
If anyone who's only those who have not been down there already, could you guys go down? Then like everyone else, we should make our way back.
Okay. Bismillah.
Aisha, you want to go down there?